Well, hello and welcome. I'm Sue Britz,
And I'm Tina Lokkbakk. Welcome to Retired.
the podcast where we talk about what life is like when we put on new tread, new wheels that move us to our next adventure. And may I say,
Yes.
I always try to make it a point to start a podcast on a laugh. You didn't get
On a
that.
laugh.
Yeah, you didn't get this one. Bump. Okay, I always
Nope.
try
It
to
flew
mic.
right over the head.
I try to mic it a point to start a podcast on a laugh. You're not worried. I mean, we were even talking about mics before we started. I mean, this is hilarious, but not. Apparently, maybe it's a dad joke. But, I try to, when we start
Okay. This is really sad. It's either me or you. I don't know. But can you explain the thing that I'm supposed to find funny?
I always try to mic it a point.
Yeah, you're trying to be what, all Irish about this? Is that what this is?
No, mic. You know a microphone? You know a mic.
Okay.
I always try to mic it a point.
And I'm like, okay, St. Patrick's Day is coming up.
No.
Am I falling into the St. Patrick's? Are we miking it? Is it Irish? Okay, I get it.
The only thing you have. No, hang on. The only thing with the podcast. Yes. What do you use? You use a friggin' mic and you use headphones. I mean, that's about all you can. I mean, there's not a lot of other tools or jokes you can make with this, right? I mean, so I mic at a point to try to start on a laugh.
That's really good. That was phenomenal.
I'm fighting for this humor.
And you're fighting fearlessly.
And wrongly. It's like, oh God. Okay, it's a dad joke on wrong.
But I just want to say I could have gotten it. No, this is the problem. Right now, my brain has been going into St. Patrick's Day. So I get it. It was beautiful, Sue. It was truly beautiful. Truly beautiful. I just couldn't follow you. But we are going to talk about fears today.
We are stomping this thing to death. I mean, this thing is now 3 minutes in, and we're stomping this to death. Okay. All right. But anyhow, We're talking about fears. Go for it.
Yeah, we're going to talk about fears. And just for fun, I'm going to start off and have you guess what do you think's the top 5 fears that humans have?
Okay, so I don't have this fear, but I know what our topic is. So I was
it's not really fair.
Yeah, right? And I was kind of thinking, we would call this something else, but I'll go with you because that's what you're supposed to. You do a yes and.
We're leading.
All right.
Yeah, thanks.
Fear of death.
Fear
of death in a horrible way is going to be another one. Fear of disappointing people. No one talks about that one. I'll bet you it's not on your list, but most people live.
It's not, but you're absolutely
most people
right.
live that way. Fear of disappointing people.
Amen.
That they care about or society or whatever. Let's see. Fear of animals. Like could be a dog or a cat or a wolf or something. So I've mentioned 3.
You're doing great. You're doing great.
Fear of being irresponsible. People don't acknowledge this one either. Like losing money, disappointing. Letting down. The fear of money loss, instability, and maybe I don't know. Fear of talking in public.
Oh, which segues in. Excellent, Sue. So that actually, according to some research, according to Bjorn at ChatGPT, public speaking is probably one of the, if not the greatest fear that people have. And so we're going to talk about that today. And did you know that 3 out of 4 people have some level of it? And you, although you knew what our topic was, that's something that I wonder about teachers in general. Do they fear public speaking? Now, this seems counterintuitive, but I do believe that there is a majority of us, even within the teaching realm, that fear public speaking. What do you think?
I agree. I think that the fear comes from wanting to be absolutely correct and making a mistake, a blunder. And I think that as you get older and you become more a master of what you're doing in whatever your profession is, you become less concerned about making a blunder, or maybe you get more concerned if you have this deep fear. But I think, for me, you make a
Not a
blunder,
problem.
you acknowledge it, and move on. And um, you could even present this as a modeling of a learning experience, because people make mistakes all the time. People don't want to be perceived as being foolish or whatever. I mean, we're pushing this by doing a podcast. I mean, you're putting it all out there, and we don't ever
Oh, true.
pretend to be uh, perfect or have all of our ideas together or anything. This is supposed to be fun
Right.
and real, and people, when they talk with each other, should do that. Just have fun and be real. You're going to be
And
imperfect, I mean, that's just it.
and we have learned that from some of the people we have had on our show, some people actually are nervous about it because it is speaking publicly. And it's funny because you and I are so comfortable, it doesn't even cross my mind.
Well, it's true. I mean, you people are concerned about offending someone or being held liable for something. It's ridiculous, our society. You do need to be responsible for what you say, but not to the nth degree that, yeah.
So I'm going to tie this back into our biggest theme. It's like, what are we doing after retirement? And so, or putting on new tire and new tread. And for me, I have recently become a member of Toastmasters International. And
Hmm.
did you know what that was? Did you want
Yes,
to
I
take
have.
it from there?
I have heard of Toastmasters. A lot of people like it. It's a way to practice getting out there and using the tools that you have, especially if you've never done it before, if you never, like, say you're a young person, you haven't had much experience in things, this would be a great way to start. I mean, they could have this in high school and college, and I think it would be a
Oh, they really
useful.
should,
Yeah,
actually.
public speaking. I mean, in high school we called it debate or whatever, and I think that's important to do because everyone is going to talk in front of other people at some point in their life. Most people don't talk in front of large crowds, but certainly within the teaching profession there should be something like that. Because it also, to me, makes you take the tools of teaching, the finesse of teaching, and specifically language arts, say, writing. It could be history and everything else, though. It crosses curriculum, where you're using rhetorical language. You are thoughtfully
Persuasive language.
thoughtfully putting to use these tools that are effective in um, getting information across. So I think it's great.
Well, what I think is interesting, and I'm really trying to remember where did this desire come, but it has been on my bucket list of things to do. But when I moved back to my little hometown, it would take over 2 hours round trip to be able to go to a 1 hour meeting, and it just wasn't worth it once a week. And so here I am, and I'm now taking advantage of this thing I've wanted to do. But where I want to tie it into teaching, and I find interesting, so why on earth would a teacher, right, who is in front of people every single day, why would I be so drawn into something like this? And I realize part of it is when you are teaching information, it's like you have the thing that you're going to do. It's like this, I don't know, I can't explain it, but it's comfortable. To teach a thing to me is very comfortable. And in front of a room where my favorite age group was 12, it really wasn't threatening. However, I look back on the times where I had to do like back to school night, and I had to sit in front of a room full of parents. And
Well-educated parents, yeah.
well, yeah, we had a very well educated room, yes. And I did not look forward to it. I was much more nervous than of course showing up every day to work. So I wanted to ask you, what's your perspective on, did you feel comfortable standing up in front of a parents, educated parents?
Well, it's interesting. I think that your confidence builds again, as you get older and you really understand your craft and everything. Certainly getting older and being older than the parents in the room really makes a big difference.
True.
But having a baby face, people didn't do that until I let my hair go gray. Um, I think that for me, it was funny. I'll tell you this one little story. What had to been my first year of teaching, and I was on an emergency credential. I was teaching full time Spanish immersion, and I was going to school. I was carrying a 15-hour load, and I had a baby. Okay, so
I'm
busy,
already
busy, busy.
exhausted.
Okay,
Yeah.
but having the confidence. I mean, I had a lot of confidence to do those things, and I remember I was teaching sixth grade at the time, and in sixth grade we do ancient world history, starting with the beginning of humanity, the early humans. And I remember being so excited, talking about, oh, we're going to talk about the early humans, and and I got into how understanding the early humans would help us understand humanity as we went on. And I'm speaking very confidently, and then later on, I find out one of the people in the class, one of the kids' parents, is a noted early
historian,
yes, of early humans, and offered to come in and give a talk. And I'm like, oh, I'm so excited, because I want to learn more. And
right.
what we do is a survey of it, of course. But I my confidence, I was, even that made me go, oh, okay, well, I just hope I did service to the topic,
early humans.
And it just made me realize, oh my gosh, these are who's in front of you, your audience. And to realize also that there was nothing negative that came out of that. And kind of going, okay, so if I get a math genius in the class and I'm talking about math, and they should appreciate my enthusiasm for their
True.
their topic,
theme,
and I guess if they're critical and saying, well, this is then on something very bland that is not, I'm not going to say anything controversial at parents teacher night, but if they were to be negative or critical, then that tells me that they're just negative and critical people. So it gives me information either way. But no, I think I felt pretty comfortable at all times, and I always like to put humor into the class, to everything I do in the classroom, and try to do that with parents without seeming like going over the top either with it, like I'm not taking things seriously. So, because I had a very serious rep, people who, for whatever reason, they all thought I was just this hardcore,
serious,
very serious person, and yet the kids come in, they're afraid, and it's because I'm consistent, and I'm fair, and I have compassion and humor all the time, and kids end up really appreciating the humor in their day. I mean, it makes the day go better for everybody. So, yeah.
Well, thank you for that.
How about
answer.
you? I mean, you said you were afraid. Did you see how that changed as you
got older?
Yeah.
I think what made it more, well, when I worked at the high school before I went to the school we taught at, it was not a very high educated people, and hardly any parents came. So it was very not threatening.
Mm-hmm.
And then going into our school my first year, I don't know if you remember, but a bunch of parents weren't so fond of the other new teacher. And so they pretty much drove her out of the school within the first 4 months of teaching there. So I was terrified of the strength, the political strength of the parents.
Yeah.
And so I think that set me up to, oh my gosh, this is a totally different world of people. I have to really think about it, or I too might be driven off. But you're right. With time came where you realize if the kids are happy, the parents happy, they leave you alone. So I felt more and more comfortable. But I think one year, and I can't remember specifically, but I was cracking jokes. I was being myself. And I don't know if it was the timing, the particular parents I had, but no one was laughing at jokes. They just sat there serious.
Kind of like this
and the
podcast.
More serious they got, the more nervous I became. Come on, can you crack this nut? That's how I felt. And so that always kind of made me uncomfortable.
That
and
audience
even when,
did that. Yeah. It's true. It's not even an audience.
It's come on, laugh, people, relax. But I think part of it is, and I look back, I think part of it could be that they were such a reflection of overworked, tired, one more thing to do. They didn't have the time. They're trying to be dutiful parents and show up, but what they wanted to be is at home, having a glass of wine, eating dinner, and relaxing. That's kind of how I felt. And so I don't know that it wasn't that they were, wanting to laugh. It was just that life is just too difficult, and I saw it later in their kids just being tired and stressed out too. So
that's sad.
Yeah. So one thing that got me really excited, how we love our vocabulary words and definitions. Did you know? I mean, of course there's going to be, but did you know what the word for the fear of public speaking is? There is one.
I knew this. I don't remember it. Go ahead. Hit me.
Glossophobia.
There we go.
And it makes sense. Glossary, which is, dictionary words. I don't know. I just love it. So do you have glossophobia, Sue?
No.
Okay. So I'm going to tell you that I do a little bit, and this is what's happening. So now that I've become an official member, you have to have roles. And I didn't realize till last week my role was to come up with a positive thought. So I came up with Maya Angelou's quote.
You're easy. This is you all over the place. A positive thought.
Well, totally. Oh, wait. Thanks, Sue. But I had to memorize the quote. I had to memorize how to present it. And what I thought was like, I got this. I didn't even think about it till the day before. But the lady who's coaching me said, you should really think about things on Monday. So by the time you present on Thursday, you're comfortable. And I'm like, word of the day, or that's this week, by the way. But last week, positive thought. And I realized all these roles that seem so minor do prepare you to stand up, present, and memorize. And I realized that's so different from teaching, where we can look down at our notes, or we know the information so well, we don't have to look at notes because we got this. But I realized, oh my gosh. And so this week is word of the day. So I picked serendipity because our theme was lucky you. But I'm realizing, I started this week on a Monday. And then here it comes, Sue. I realized I've never done this before, except maybe when we were young in school ourselves. I have to come up with what they call the icebreaker. There are pathways. There are 6 courses that I am going to now be taking over the course of years with so many levels within them. And my first is not this Thursday, next Thursday, I have to do a presentation on myself that lasts between 5 to 7 minutes. And I'm thinking, my God, if I'm sweating bullets over, word of the day, thought of the day, and now I've got to come up with a speech. And it sounds like it should be easy. We've been teachers forever, and maybe this will be okay. Maybe I'm overreacting, but I'm not so sure. And then in this club, which is the whole point of it, Sue, the entire group critiques you. They critique your body language. There is a person that does ahs and ums counting. Right. And then you get a stuffed animal if you did the most ums and ahs and ers. There's grammarians who point out, good things that you say, big words that you use. And then there's also you didn't use the grammar correctly. I mean, so it's a big room full of judgment. And I really had to change my way of thinking, right? That is why we fear public speaking, is for fear of judgment, of critiquing. Like you said, I think that's the number one fear. It's not public speaking. I think what you were talking about at the beginning of our talk, it's the fear of what other people think. And so I'm going to stand up and talk about myself and then get critiqued for it. And it is a very scary thing.
Okay, and I totally hear you, and it's like, to put yourself in that position, you've got to want to receive that information. And that's different than like in everyday life or in your job and you're standing up and talking about something. It's not, they're specifically judging you on your delivery.
Yes.
So it's kind of like debate in that respect too.
Oh, true.
Debate
And you were in debate, right?
I only took the class. I wasn't in the debate team or anything, but
you would have been amazing.
But here's the thing. I am not a good memorizer. I am more.
Me either.
And that's, I don't have, I think memorizing is really good because it does build these synapses in your brain and so forth. And at the same time, if if I'm not enjoying it and I'm finding it too difficult to do, I have to work on some other ways. So ad-libbing is very good for me. I like that. That's what our podcast is. However, I do come prepared. I don't like to come to anything with,
completely right.
yes, I want to have given it some pre-thought and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
I know that as we do this, the ums and the ahs and everything, that's something that I do quite a bit. At the same time, I also know that it's important to take the pauses, and that builds a space for you to form your ideas. Because if you're just talking and there's nothing logical about it, and you're not going in the right direction, that's a problem. But too many ahs and ums, and I don't like. And I get frustrated when we're doing this, to be honest here. When we're doing this podcasting, I get frustrated when you're doing...
Go silent.
Silent. It's frustrating because I'm not used to it. It's effective. It's important. And I think you're strong and brave to do it because you're formulating your ideas. You're not putting ahs and ums in there, but I'm on the other end thinking, okay, have we lost contact? Is the audio gone out? So I'm perceiving it differently than I would in person. If you're sitting in front of me and we're just having a conversation over coffee or something, and I could read your body language better and understand that this is just a pause because you're thinking about something rather than, did we lose you? Because that does happen.
Or we get frozen.
But yeah,
we get frozen. Mm-hmm.
I would, so in doing this thing, talking about yourself, I would say I'm a kind of casual, ad hoc kind of gal, and that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm good at. That's what I feel comfortable in. That's how I approach life. I'm a brainstormer. I give all kinds of ideas out, and then we, wherever this conversation goes, yeah. let's go there. And
yep.
there is a time and a place for that. And I think that if I were trying to study to be a on stage actor or do something, then that would be really good to do. However, in my real life, I don't know that I wouldn't put myself out there for that much judgment on something that I don't feel I need or want.
Right. And so I think I'm right there with you. One of the, oh my gosh. So in preparing for the speech, they have a KWL chart. I'm like, oh. And so one of them was, what do you know about your strengths? Mm-hmm. And I wrote down there exactly what you said. I am so good at improv. Mm-hmm. And I think that is the teaching training where you have to figure out what to do quick. And that part is fun.
Quickly.
And I too but I too feel like you. I do not memorize well. That Maya Angelou quote, I worked on it for 24 hours over and over. And it was like, to make it sound comfortable, right. It took a lot of work for 2 sentences. Yeah. 2 sentences. Yeah. And I was sweating bullets. So I just want to say I'm with you. I like the improv. This is uncomfortable. I'm hoping that because I'm talking about myself, it will go much better because that I should be able to do comfortably.
Well, you know, it makes you give it an appreciation for people who do this as a job, and
yes,
to really know that they're honing their craft so well, and you don't even notice it. And there are people that this is what their gift is, and so as they hone that skill even more, it's pretty amazing. They'll blow us out of the water. So, yeah.
Okay, so I just wanted to give a couple of quick pieces of factual information here because I looked it up, right? Because like you, I can't, although we improv, I do like to look up a few things and come prepared myself. So again, very similar. So I just want everybody to know that Toastmasters International began in 1924 in Santa Ana, California at a YMCA because Ralph C. Smedley, born in 1878, passed away in 1965. He worked at the Y, and he saw that men were very uncomfortable and challenged to express themselves in front of people. So he started it kind of by accident, where he was sitting with other people, and they started practicing, and then they created this club. And there are 140 countries, that's why it's international, that are involved. There are 14,000 plus clubs, and there are over 270,000 members worldwide. That's kind of cool.
Wow. I think that as a second language speaker, it would be cool to do this in another language, although it could be overwhelming, all the correction of your grammar and everything.
So funny that you say this. So one of my goals with this is, as you know, I am applying for dual citizenship with Norway. And so I am going to go in my next speech and practice in English what I would say to the Norwegian government as I present my case. And so that's part of what I wanted, because I want to walk into a room full of people, right, who are critiquing me and listening to what I have to say and present in the most persuasive way possible. So that is where I'm willing to overcome the fears, because the need to improve and to nail it is what I want. And so that is how I'm overcoming the fear. And then my hope is, I don't know how they'll feel, but as I've been practicing my Norwegian, I would love to come back and have them simply look at body language and for me to practice presenting in Norwegian.
And tone of voice,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So what are your goals with this, besides going to your Norwegian interview, basically, and passing it with flying colors?
I'm 57, and one of my New Year's goals this year is to do the things I fear. So I am fearing this.
Okay.
And I'm pushing myself through it. So the goals of Toastmasters, there are 5. And the first is to become obviously more comfortable speaking in front of people. The second is to improve job presentations. And think about it nowadays. That's a vital thing. Develop leadership skills. And at first I was like, I don't get it. But now I do, because we all have roles. And I'm scared, but next month I have to be the Toastmaster, which means I'm running the entire meeting. Like, they don't wait to throw you into these horrific things. And it was funny because I thought it was going to be this month, and I panicked. And my instinct was, I've got to cancel. I got to tell them I can't do that. I'm too new. And then I thought, you know what? If my New Year's resolution is to overcome and do fearful things, then I'm going to do it. What is the worst that can happen? I'm new. So it turns out it's next month. I'll be just fine. But I was kind of proud that I was going to just face it, Sue.
So do they make it a safe space to flop, to make, because when they give you the judgment and criticism, they're not doing it in a negative way, I would assume, unless you got some jerk in the group.
No. And there could be a jerk in the group, but so far it seems like a safe enough place. Good. And the system and the formats are good. Yeah,
because that's what, as teachers, that's what we want to. We do the same thing. We want to make it a safe space to make mistakes, and you hear some input, but delivered in a way that's caring.
So in every speech there will be an evaluator that will come up afterwards, and then it's funny because there's usually 2 speakers, 2 speeches, and then there will be 2 evaluators, and we actually vote on who gave the best speech and also who was the best evaluator. And I realized even that is a skill. And honestly, this is another thing that's, it's like, how do you deliver it? Because you have to talk about strengths and the weaknesses, how to improve. I have been starting since January, the first week. It has been excellent every single time. There has never been a terrible evaluation. And the things that they bring up are, I could see that. That would be an improvement. So actually, the more I go, the safer I feel.
Good.
But one thing, I feel like this is karma that has bit me in the ass. So who was the one that used to sit there and set up the rubric and have my kids present? And it is hilarious that now it's my turn.
Right.
Like, for all the times I threw it at the kids and I'm like, come on, you've got this. And critiquing them basically on the rubric. Like, how did they stand? How did they present? I did all these things. And now it's coming back at me. But I put myself in that situation. But it's just interesting to have taught how to present for so long. And now I'm the one that's having to stand up there.
And that's where we've modeled this is a perfect example of how to integrate all your skills and your knowledge and to keep learning. I mean, this is what being retired is to keep learning and growing and continue the adventure. What are the other goals?
Okay. And the last 2, and it makes so much sense, to build networks.
Right.
To build, because most of these people going in there are a couple, I think, that might be in there just for the sake of being in there. But most people are in the business world and they are practicing their business presentations that they have to give. So it's really a fun community in that you're meeting people from healthcare down to beer distribution to, all kinds of different
Norwegian citizenship.
Norwegian citizenship. And then the last one, and I think this is so true, building self-confidence, which is, again, why I went in there, to feel more confident in groups of people I don't know. I'm done being that wallflower. And it does build your self-confidence, Sue. Every time in that meeting, aside from that, we have something called table topics, where somebody's in charge of random topics. And then you don't know who's going to be called on. So you're all sitting there wondering who it will be. And then you have to stand up and you have to talk for 1 to 2 minutes on whatever topic that they give. And you cannot wiggle your way and change the topic. You have to stick to the topic and stand there. And that can be challenging too. If you don't like the topic and you're not passionate about that topic, it's really hard to fake it for that one long minute. And the first time I got called on, I ended it by saying, how much more time do I have? Because that 1 minute when I wasn't, ready for it, it was my first time. That 1 minute is very long, very long.
Yeah, and we used to make students do that too. Talk on a topic. I like that. I like that kind of thing. Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's good.
Forgive me.
It's so important.
I hope they listen now. Hold on.
No, but you do it in a safe space.
Students. No, I know. I'm just saying, for all the kids that I didn't have the greatest compassion for, as I'm sitting on my butt with the rubric, circling the strengths and weaknesses, I really admire them even more because it wasn't their language either. Most of them, It was not their first language. And we had them present things on early humans in Spanish.
Well, also, the talking for a minute kind of thing, it makes you be an effective listener as well. And then if you're listening carefully, then you're learning, not only are you going to give them feedback that's going to be helpful for them, but you're learning from their experience. And it's like, okay, I could do this. And so it's that active learning mode. So it's so layered with nuance of all the things that we can be using. So it's important to keep doing that. I mean, for us ourselves to keep doing that. That's what I like about this podcast, is it forces us to do those things too. So
yes, to use the brain.
Couple things. One, I wanted to ask you, what were the top 5 according to what you were saying? Because job interviews is one of them.
You nailed it. But the first one is public speaking. Then comes death. Then comes heights. Then spiders. And then snakes.
Oh, interesting.
So you were spot on with the animals. You called wolves, but it's snakes and spiders. And,
more access to them. Yeah.
Yeah. Indiana Jones.
All right, so I wanted to go, you call this Toastmasters, and it's interesting. It's more about public speaking in general, because giving a toast is one of those things that I totally appreciate and enjoy. I wish I were better at it, because it's about memorizing things again, or speaking off the cuff, which I can do more easily. I think that speaking off the cuff for events that are like upcoming, my nephew's getting married, thinking about how I feel during that day and then echoing that is something that I can do better than if I memorize something. But when we started the idea of toasting, in wine education, you do, especially with champagne or sparkling wine, you need to have a toast prepared. So I wanted to know about toasting. And this, of course, comes back to ancient times. They say that people toasted because they wanted to have safety in so if we're sharing the wine, we're going to share from the same pot, and we're touch the glasses together, maybe mix that potion up, make sure that if you're drinking it, I'm drinking it, and if it's got poison,
so if you're going down, I'm going down, right?
All right, and then the other one they said is that the word toast coming from England, because they would use actually a piece of toasted bread that they would put into the wine because the wine didn't taste so great. And if you think about it, this makes total sense as someone who studied wine education.
True.
When you in ancient times, in particular, when you didn't have wine in England per se because grapes don't grow there very well.
True.
They do now because of global climate change, but they would get their wine and it would be a lower quality wine. Maybe it wasn't shipped well, and maybe it suffered through the, handling and so forth. So they would put this toast in it to make it palatable, and so that was kind of interesting. But we use this idea to toast, to celebrate, to bond, to show our goodwill towards each other. And so what I would say to all of you on this beautiful day is, may the best day of your past be the worst day of your future. L'chaim. You're funny.
That was the conclusion, wasn't it? It was perfect.
That's kind of what
Yeah, that was great.
I was leaving for the end. Thanks for listening. Now let's pack up this week's episode in the trunk.
Ride shotgun and be a part of our adventure by clicking on the plus sign to follow our show. This will help our ratings and, more importantly, inspire us to keep creating fun and engaging content. We would love to hear from you in the comments sections, or email us at retiredpodcastnewtread@gmail.com. Use the fast track lane by sharing episodes with friends, family, and anyone who would like to join us on our road trip through retirement.
Be sure to check the show notes for links and contact information. Retired is chauffeured by Sue Britz and Tina Lokkbakk. It is produced, directed, and edited by me, Sue Britz. Music and graphics are by me too. Buckle up and tune in next week so that you won't miss your chance to join our retired road trip. And I don't memorize that. I have to look at my script each time.
Right? And what episode are we on?
It's
Me too, Sue.
I don't want to make the mistake. Well, it's not about making the mistake. It's about getting it recorded. I mean, making a mistake is fine, but
All right. Well, thank you for today. That was good.